So with day 2, can't get the Panda to start. It's not turning over. It's not fuel cut off. There's no errors on the dash, and I've checked on multi-scan ECU. We've got no errors coming up. So every time I start it, it's just draining. The battery can only do about 3 or so starts, and then we're really struggling to get anything out of the battery anymore. So not really sure what the fault is really at the moment. It's just not going at all. Changed over the battery twice now, different batteries, so it's not happy with something, and I still can't work it because Copart had it running in the yard. So what's changed? So yeah, back to the drawing board on this one, I'm afraid, for the minute. So as you know, the car wasn't starting, it was churning over, and yeah, we couldn't get it to work. So from where it was dropped off, managed to get the car moved by transporter to my dad's, where we were able to work on it and find out the reason as to why it was not starting. And we've come to a conclusion, and it works, probably through a bit of googling as well. And I'm going to lift the bonnet and show you what was going on and how we solved it. So have a little think, work out what you reckon it might be, and to be fair, if you have watched the first video on this, which was months and months ago, I think a few people had already put in the comment what they think was the problem. So, but yeah, have a little think, and I'll go and get the keys, and we'll open up the bonnet and we can give the full reason. Okay, so the bonnet is open. So why was this not starting? And on Copart it showed that it was starting. I thought I had recorded the video of the engine kicking into life, and I'm fairly sure I had it, but I can't find it anymore, so unfortunately can't show you that. But what I can tell you is the reason why this was turning over, and 1, draining the battery, but 2, just literally not kicking into life, was because if we go to the fuse box in here, which is a lot more difficult to get to, I'll be honest, than the 500, because as you can see, it's still quite tightly packed in here, but also not at an angle like the 500. The fuel relay had blown. That is the reason that it wasn't kicking into life, and eventually found out that the fuel relay needed to be replaced. So that was replaced, and then the car started absolutely fine. So moving on from that, which is great, we then moved to then another problem, which was because this has been sitting here for so long, whilst it wasn't the best of weather. I think we went through Christmas and into January, etc, etc, etc. The car went to start, so we could move it in March, and the alternator had seized. Bellowing of smoke, because that belt isn't going to want to move, and eventually it snapped. But that's where the rest of this video then goes to looking at removing and replacing the alternator, which is really difficult to get to and required a lot of hands and not a massive amount of video work, but you'll just get to see what was going on. So we fast forward on to March, and we have a new issue, which is that the alternator seized. Now, I don't know if it's a Fiat thing, but I've seen a number of videos on YouTube of Fiat alternator seizing. I've got one myself on a Fiat 500 that's seized, and yeah, this Panda's also got one. So what's particularly strange about it is it had been sitting for a few months whilst working out why it wouldn't start, and yeah, it went to start one day, it seized, the belt didn't like it, and as you can imagine, that belt went absolutely flying within the engine bay. So this is the old alternator. You can actually see from there it's got a crack on the casing, and I think a new one is about 100. You can get refurbished or you can get second hand, but a new one is around 100. So that needed to be installed into the Panda, which was a bit more difficult because with air conditioning and air conditioning pipes, there's not so much room in the Panda. So as you can see down, this is coming in from the driver's side arch, and it's really tight down there. It needed two of us to sort of hold it, and well, it didn't need two of us to hold it. It needed one to hold it, and then another pair of hands to try and bolt it on, because it's not sat at the bottom of the car, it's sat sort of middle of the way up onto the engine, so you got to then stick your hands up, and yeah, it's just really tight around there, as you can see. But once it's started, and you basically got to feel around for your nuts and your bolts, and then it gets started. So that took hours to get done in the end, and with the belt on as well, as we go into the wheel arch again, with the belt on, we were able to get it done. But you're probably saving yourself quite a bit of labour time, but yeah, without air conditioning it'd be done a lot quicker. So it then just required a start-up. Which isn't that exciting, I'll be honest with you. But with the fuel relay sorted and the alternator now in place, it just meant that yeah, the car was pretty much good to go. It's running. Okay, so some of you have been asking about the Panda. Obviously, you've seen that the alternator has needed to be replaced, and the fuel relay was the cause of why it wasn't starting. But we are about, well, less than a month away from getting it MOT'd, and everything is absolutely fine. However, I don't know why I said everything's fine. It's not. It drives fine, it runs fine. It's already been down to Cornwall. It's great. Still got to replace the doors from the smack initially, but for driving it's absolutely no issues whatsoever. But the problem is that because this isn't mine, it's my father's, he explained the other night that he was coming home and he put high beam on, and and as he flicked the high beam, it totally turned off the headlights. So you can then turn back on the headlights, but every time you go to put on the high beam, it cancels out the headlights full stop. So what's gone on here is that with Fiat, or the Fiat Panda, you have your headlights and your DRLs, and when you want high beam on, the bulb, it's like a twin or triple element in it, and effectively the headlights become your high beam as well. Some of them, like I think the 500, you have the headlight, and then when you want high beam, the DRL gets brighter. So anyway, so now we're in the light, we've turned the ignition on, and sure enough, when you go to put high beam on, the headlights completely just stop for some unknown reason. Also, strangely, the fog lights both don't work either. When you go to put on the fogs, nothing happens. So at the moment, we're trying to diagnose. Not too worried about the fogs. Could be that those bulbs are gone, but it is a bit weird how both the fogs have gone, and we can't get the high beam to come on. The bulbs seem to work. So as you can see here, we've had to take this apart again to work out whether it's the relay. We don't believe it's to be a relay problem, and the fuse seems to be okay. So as to why the high beam isn't working on this, I don't know, but obviously we've got to get that sorted because the MOT is due on this shortly. So yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one. Very weird. I don't think it's cursed. It could well be something really, really simple, but for some reason it's not the case. So the only thing we haven't done is just swapped out the bulbs for some brand new, I think it's H4 bulbs. So I'm going to go and get some of those tomorrow, because I've got to pick up some stuff from Euro Car Parts and give that a shot. And then if it's not that, yeah, I think we're back to this. So the fun doesn't stop with the Panda, but reportedly it drives a lot better than a 500. So I still won't be driving it, but yeah, it drives better than a 500. So yeah, so I suppose another 500 video, not another 500, another Panda video when we've got that one sorted. If you might happen to know what could be the fault with that one, put it in the comments below. So we move on from another couple of weeks of discussing the Panda, and we have another fault with it. So as you know, this is like my dad's run around, and apart from the high beams which aren't working, which don't believe it to be anything to do with the fuse, but anyway, he goes for a drive the other day, and then tells me that the right, or the driver's side, brake caliper, brake disc and pads, whatever you want to refer to them as, are stuck on. And yeah, he managed to get to his location and put on, take it apart and free the pad from the disc, and sort of got it back again home. Then had a look at it and decided that no. Then went for another drive a couple of days later and thought it was all right, but actually when he got to location, he put the heat gun, but the heat thermometer on it, and it was quite evident that it was still partly sticking, because that temperature was nearly at 100 degrees. So yeah, there's a fault in this, and it's either going to probably needs new pins. I mean, you could replace the whole caliper, but you could also get like a kit for it. So yeah, so this one's back up on jacks, not going anywhere for the meantime. So yeah, so since this was purchased from Copart, bearing in mind it was at Copart for the doors, someone having a light driven into the side of it, we've had fuse go on the relay, we've had the high beams not working, and we've had now the brake caliper. So yeah, things are not been straightforward with the Panda, I can tell you that. So yeah, it's yeah, just not going his way. But we've got the doors just need to go on, but all the time we've got the 500s here and working on them, doors are not going to get done, but they will need to get done shortly, partly because we don't want to be doing it in the winter. It's only going to be a day's job anyway. Certainly the back door here is literally a bolt on, bolt off. Front one's obviously a bit more, but yeah, those should come off quite easily. And yeah, that's the Panda update for you. So we've also got, you can see down here, got water in the back of this. Somehow the water is getting into the reverse light, and not really sure how, because it is all pretty sealed, to be honest, from in there in the wheel arch. And yeah, so that's got a nice little pool going on in there. But as far as I know, when this is all working properly, i.e. the brake's not sticking, he really enjoys driving it. He says it's far better than a 500. So yeah, so just got to get it to sorted and get those high beams done and get it MOT'd. So that is the update on the Panda for everyone that's probably been asking about it, and also working out, or potentially still been waiting on, why the car never started when it came off the Copart lorry. So yeah, check your fuses and your relays for that one. So I thought you might like to see the update as to where we are on the Panda. I won't be getting one. They're not for me. So yeah, until next time, thank you all for watching, and catch up with you all again very, very soon.